Hey everybody, this is Dave Bressoud. Join me this summer. I'm going to be driving across the country pursuing my two favorite things. The two things I'm most passionate about, baseball and comedy. Going to be going to ballparks all around the country and performing at clubs all around the country. And the cool thing is this, I'm going to be doing it with other comedians, and I'm looking for the best fans too. I want to talk to you guys and find out what your passion is. Find out why you love the game. So join me this summer. Look for us to come to a city near you.
Your next comedian, very, very funny, all the way from the Central Valley. Make some noise, one of my good friends. For Dave Bressoud!
And my first game I went to, I was 5 years old. My dad took me. We went to Dodger Stadium, right? We go to the game, and everything was cool. My uncle was the shortstop for the Mets, and it was great. So I wanted to impart that same kind of, love for the game to my son. So I took him to Dodger Stadium when he was 4 years old. Now here's the problem with Dodger Stadium for a 4-year-old. In the men's room, all they have is a trough. A trough hits a 4-year-old right here. And he had to pee. And so I didn't want to wait for the John, so I just pulled his pants down. I held him up like this. And he's going, I said, "Are you done?" And he goes, "Yeah." And guys, what do we got to do when we're done? Shake it. So I just did this with my son. And he's like, "Hey." We're going to Dodger Stadium. We're going to check out the stadium. The first one I ever went to where just the passion for baseball, for the love of baseball began. We're going to be checking out the game with comedian Huck today. And then from there, we're going to be traveling all over the country. So look for us, touch them all, comedy and baseball with Dave Bressoud. We used to always come up through Griffith Park. My dad would bring us in off the 101 coming up through Pasadena, and that's where we'd always enter the stadium. And it was I just remember coming in and just waiting in that line. It was awesome. Hearing Vin Scully's voice on the radio. "Hey, it's the Giants and the Dodgers, so pull up a chair. It's going to be a dandy. This game brought to you by Farmer John Franks," and it was just, God, it was just so classic. This is where I saw my first game back when I was a 5-year-old kid. So we figured this is the perfect place to start. So we're going to go in and check it out. Dodger Stadium, Chavez Ravine, Dodgers Nationals. Go Nationals. I'm with comedian Huck today, huge baseball fan. The more I've been talking to this guy, the more I like him.
I was driving the other day, I saw a bumper sticker. It said, "Give kids hugs, not drugs." My first thought was, yeah, it's a good idea. My immediate follow-up thought was, I'm probably getting the same amount of prison time for doing either one of those things.
John grew up in Chicago, was a big Cubs fan. He's also a Dodger fan, but he's a Cubs fan first. So, you got to stay with your team. We're at Dodger Stadium. I'm not a Dodger fan. I'm with the other guys. For me, Dodger Stadium, this is the first stadium I came to. At first, we were behind home plate. It was awesome. I mean, the best seats I ever had, and I was too young to appreciate it.
Yes, that sucks. Now you're like in the nosebleeds. Like, when I didn't care, I sat right there.
Yeah, when I'd go around to the concession, when the concession stands were more important and the souvenirs were more important than the game, I was sitting right there. Although I did catch my first foul ball here at Dodger Stadium during that time when we were down there.
Not your first game.
Not my first game.
But that's not fair.
No, that would have been too much. My dad brought me and my brother to the game, and he wanted us to share the experience. And the cool thing was, we went down to the dugout here, and my dad got a hold of the security guard and said something to him, and I didn't know what he said. Next thing you know, my uncle comes walking out of the dugout. He was the shortstop for the Mets in 1966, Eddie Bressoud. And so here he is doing he comes out, And then during the game, he took a bad hop shot in the mouth from Tommy Davis on a sinking line drive. Teeth went through his lips. We go over to Grandma's house afterwards. He shows up to meet us, and he shows us the stitches. And that was my first game, and I've been in love with the game ever since. As we were walking around the stadium beforehand, looking for fans and looking for the right guys, ran into Conrad here. Conrad has got his kids at the game, and just had to talk to him and ask him about the game. I mean, this is where my dad brought me to my first game, and he's brought his two kids, and he's passing the love on for the game to them. So let's talk to Conrad here. And Conrad, tell me, how did you get into doing this, and who brought you to your first game?
My uncle had actually took all of us to our first game. And it was funny. It was an Angels game, and then that's about all I can remember. But I don't even know what they were playing. But I just fell in love.
And then you got your kids. Why'd you want to bring them so early to this?
People talk about it's just their fathers and sons. I just want to get that started with my own. I actually remember my grandmother just randomly, when the games would be on, would just watch it together. It's weird. It's just a weird thing.
Cool. My grandma, I get it. My grandma was a hardcore Dodger fan, and she used to go to sleep every night listening to Vin Scully and had the little transistor radio, and she would sleep with that on her ear. And just, on one side, my grandma was a huge Dodger fan. On the other side, my grandma was a huge Giants fan. Get two of them in the same room. Oh man, it was just crazy. When you're at Dodger Stadium, one of the things that you got to do is you got to have a Dodger dog. It's got two different kinds. There's the regular Dodger dog, and then there's the super dog. Dude, you already downed one of them?
I ate 1.5 already.
Oh my God. All right, so Scott Davis, you told me get a Dodger dog for you. Here it is, buddy. You got to get a Dodger dog.
They're delicious.
It's like if you're in Boston, you got to get a Fenway Frank. Each stadium has its own stuff, and that's part of the trip. Is finding out who has what at each stadium.
My favorite thing that I've ever done, these suites, if you're up in this area where I used to get tickets, you can just walk the hall. And if you walk the hall, those doors are not locked.
Really?
So one time, it was me, my brother, my friend Anthony. We come walking down the hall, and I just try one of the doors, and it's open, and there's no one in there. My brother's like, oh yeah, I've done this before. But there's trays of hot dogs, there's popcorn, there's sodas, there's all kinds of stuff. So we just walk into the room, start eating hot dogs, start putting chips in our pocket. My brother was supposed to be at the door watching for anybody coming. He starts grabbing stuff, but he's standing next to the door. Within 3 minutes, a security guard opens the door and he's like, hey, are you supposed to be in here? And my brother literally turns to me and my friend and goes, yeah, are you guys supposed to be in here? And I was like, what?
We used to come here Little League nights. They'd sit you either in the outfield or you'd be way up in there, and you just see the blotches of colors of all the team and everything. It was just awesome.
My friend's kids go to a camp here, and we got to do our podcast out in left field, just empty stadium, just kids running around, a couple players out here throwing the ball to them. It was awesome.
We're at Hollywood Stars night. It's so funny. Remember Jethro from the Beverly Hillbillies?
Yeah.
Dude, saw him take one deep into left field. Now, the funnier part of that is they had Peter Falk playing left field. Peter Falk had one eye. Right? Colombo had one eye. One other thing.
Well, one more thing.
Yeah, one more thing. Just one more. Here's the thing. You got one eye, you got no depth perception, and they put him in the outfield. What the hell were they thinking?
You take one to the face.
Now, he got so lost on a fly ball and hit the ground and everything, we were laughing.
I'm assuming they were like, this will be comical.
That was just ridiculous. The couples that try to have sex at the stadium. Oh my God. You're way up there, you're trying to get away with something.
Yeah, I know. I feel like they do look at you like, why are you up there? What are you hiding? I really, what I like about baseball is I like the idea of villains. Guys kind of almost like wrestling, playing up the bad guy role. I think you don't see it as often, but every once in a while you do. And I think a prime example of that is Joey Votto from the Cincinnati Reds. I was watching the Dodgers-Reds game on TV,
a paper airplane came out of like the upper deck. It made its way all the way, it spiraled down, made all its way between first and second base, and like kind of stuck in the dirt. Crowd goes, they laugh, you know, whatever, and calls timeout. Votto walks from first base. He walks over to the paper airplane, he stands over it. He looks up at the crowd, like really looks up at everybody. He's like, and then he just steps on it and he crushes the airplane with his foot, picks it up and he crumples it up. Everyone just starts booing him. And he just walks off, throws a piece of paper, and he just keeps looking at everybody. But the whole thing is like, he enjoyed that so much. It was such an honest moment of like, let's give these guys something. Let's entertain these fans with a little bit of this. And I thought it was really funny, and it made me actually like and respect Joey Votto. Oh, he's a great baseball player, not a Reds fan. Speaking of that, I mean, the Dodgers have now gone from having Vin Scully to having like 3 or 4 guys doing the job that the one guy did for 60 plus years.
Well, yeah, because there's no way. I mean, it's like being Doug DeCinces and coming in behind Brooks Robinson.
But Vin Scully, that's the last of a breed of person that could do that.
Everybody, the players respected him. You know, you would hear the one thing that you don't hear now that you used to hear at Dodger games all the time. Everybody had their radios on. Yeah. Okay, and they were listening. Oh, hell yes. Yeah. Scully, he just had that voice that was so soothing. I mean, can you imagine being like his kid or something like that, being upset and just like, hey, let me tell you about it.
It's time to go to your room. It's time to wash the dishes. I mean, the memory. There's a guy who's never smoked a joint in a day of his life. You know what I mean?
When we were sitting up there in the club level, my brother and I are laughing like crazy. And my dad's like, what the heck are you guys doing? My dad looks over. Back in the early 70s, afros were really big, right? I mean, huge.
Not just big popular, but they were like big.
Yeah, not just popular. I mean, we're talking like Angela Davis, you know, just these huge afros. So there was this couple that was down below, and they had these 2 huge afros. And my brother and I were taking the peanut shells and throwing them off and trying to make them into their afros. And we made a couple, and we were just laughing like crazy. What a joke! Oh, I've seen better catches on Tinder. Swipe left on that one. We were at a game here when we were sitting behind home plate, so back in the early 70s, like 7th inning, this guy down the left field line, all of a sudden, this guy there's this dog on the field, and this guy chucks this frisbee, and it goes out in the middle of center field, and this dog is just freaking booking out there, and it jumps up like 8 feet in the air and catches this frisbee, and the crowd's like, what the, you know, and the crowd's going crazy. The dog comes running back, the guy opens his jacket, the dog jumps into his jacket, he zips it up, and he and his friend that they're with, they just book out of the stadium like that. The crowd went crazy. He wound up on Carson, wound up on all kinds of stuff. The dog's name was Stanley Whippet, because the dog was a Whippet, and it was Stanley Whippet, and that was the first frisbee dog.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that happened.
I think I saw that dog on Carson.
Baseball Digest was talking about crazy stuff that happened in the bullpens, and over in the right field bullpen, in the visitors' bullpen one game, there was stuff going on, and the guys, you know, they weren't getting called in that day. There was just nothing going on. So they're back there, and Scully caught him, you know, and Scully's talking about it. They're on camera, and these guys are back there putting, and, you know, hey! They're like, you know, they're back behind the mound just doing all this stuff and screwing around out there because there was nothing else going on. It's like, you talk about just patience, but that's how Orozco came in. He used to be a closer, and then he worked into a specialist. Guy came up in '79, played to 2000. He, Raines, and Ricky Henderson played in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000. They played in 4 decades.
Just to play 4 decades, I mean, the fact that Clayton Kershaw's been in the league almost, 10 years?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
I know, it doesn't seem like Kershaw. It doesn't,
no,
to
dude,
me,
I feel like the guy just joined the league, and we're like, he's a phenom. Like,
yeah, I remember when Pujols was the phenom. He just hit number 600.
Dude, again, I feel like 600, how did we get here? Where's my life gone?
And there's only been like 23 perfect games in baseball. You figure with 30 teams, 162 games a year,
since
you know, going all the way back
early
to 1800 and something, that there's only been 23. And I was actually playing when I was a freshman in high school, summer ball. I was in a game where I was playing shortstop, and our pitcher threw a perfect game. And the guy gets, you know, so Craig, this guy's name's Craig Olson. Craig gets the perfect game, right? My dad's never excited at a ball game, never excited. Runs out there, picks him up and all this stuff, and I'm like, what about me?
Hey, I also played in the game.
Like, oh, I'm your son, you've never done that. You know, I think we were at the 10 or the 20-year high school reunion, and he was asking me about it, and his wife's like, oh my God, are you still talking?
Yes, I am still talking about it.
All right, we just finished our first game on the tour.
Dodgers won.
Dodgers won.
He's mad.
Yeah, well, okay. Dodgers won. Needless to say, great game, great time out here, and meeting one of the great comedians out there today and one of the biggest baseball fans. God, I had so much fun today with them, and we're going to start a new tradition with this. I'm getting a ball from every stadium that I'm going to, and I'm going to have the comic that they sign the ball. That looks great.
There you go.
All right. John, thank you much for coming out
Thank you,
to
man.
today.
Had a blast.
This was way too much fun. Thank you again for John Huck for coming out. Guys, we're going to be coming to your city next. We're looking for top comedians. We're looking for top fans in each city. So make sure you look for us. Look for our next broadcast coming out. And thanks again, John, for coming out. What a day. But my kids are older now. I was helping one of them with her homework the other day, and she was doing fractions, and she's converting fractions. She doesn't get it, right? She goes, Dad, I don't understand. I said, what's the question? She goes, what's an eighth convert to? And without even thinking about it, I'm like 3.5 grams. She goes, what? I said, I don't know, $50? I'm going to be around coming up all summer doing ball games all over. We're going to call it the Touch 'em All Tour, comedy and baseball. We're going all over the place. You guys be sure to follow me. I want to thank you guys tonight. I want to thank Jack Jr. for getting us up here tonight for our first show. Thank you very much.